Hello and a warm welcome to South Central with me, Jude Sanith. This is India's only show where we bring you all the news, market action and happenings from businesses, boardrooms and political circles within South India. With that, let's take a look at everything making headlines at this hour. As the United States and Bangladesh ink a reciprocal trade agreement, fears arise over whether the deal's 0% tariff clause will impact exports from Tirupur's textile hub. Tamil Nadu releases its growth and status report on the electronics sector. The data says the state accounts for nearly half the country's total new electronics asset addition, and that electronics exports have jumped 414% since FY22. Karur Vysya Bank MD and CEO Ramesh Babu tells ET Now that the RBI's SOPs to MSMEs signals bullishness for the sector. He adds that KVB will prioritize lending to MSMEs over corporate businesses. Kerala will have its first visually impaired judge as 24-year-old Kannur University topper Tanya Nathan now tops the civil judge junior division exams under the persons with disabilities category. Speculation is rife over a political churn in Karnataka yet again as Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar flies to New Delhi. Meanwhile, a legislative committee member claims Shivkumar has the support of all 136 Congress MLAs in the state. Well, on to our top story first. India may have just scored what looked like a big win on trade, with tariffs on Indian exports to the US coming down to 18%. But a fresh US-Bangladesh trade pact is now raising uncomfortable questions for India's textile heartland in Tirupur. Now, here's why exporters are worried. While Bangladesh's reciprocal trade agreement with the US has its base tariff of 19% actually higher than that of India's, the fine print tells a very different story. The deal includes a zero-duty pathway for Bangladeshi garments provided manufacturers there source US-produced cotton and man-made fiber inputs. In effect, this means Bangladeshi textile products could gain duty-free access to the US apparel market, while Indian garments continue to face an 18% tariff wall. Now, that matters deeply for clusters like Tirupur. After all, Bangladesh has traditionally been a major buyer of Indian yarn. A pivot to US cotton doesn't just hit India's spinning mills, it hands Bangladesh a powerful cost advantage in finished garments on top of already lower labor costs and massive scale. So the concern now is this: India isn't just competing with Bangladesh anymore, we may actually be competing with the US-Bangladesh supply chain alliance. So what does this mean for Tirupur's exporters who were rejoicing just a few days ago? What does it mean for jobs on the ground? And more importantly, for India's trade strategy going forward? Joining us live to break this down is K.M. Subramanian, President of the Tirupur Exporters Association. Mr. Subramanian, as always, great to have you on the bulletin. Now, if Bangladesh gets a zero-duty pathway into the US, while Indian garments stay at 18%, how big is the cost disadvantage for exporters in Tirupur? Are orders at risk of shifting yet again? Mr. Subramanian.
Yeah, good evening, Jude. Thanks for calling me again because we enjoyed the happiness for the last 3-4 days, and again there is a small jerk in the US trade. So the recent receipt of this announcement, they are setting some quota will apply for the zero duty, but remaining all for the Bangladesh garment exports is 19%. So we are 18%, even 1% they are higher. And this quota system, everything is not clear properly. It will come another week time or 2 days, and after that only we'll come to know. But this is a small setback. Definitely, we are more competitive, and we will face this, and we will come back to, because we are the strong. They don't have a raw material. They don't have other materials, because we are fully vertical. We are growing cotton, from cotton to garment, fiber to fashion. We are, but there's a manufacturing setup is not like that. So definitely, we will be competitive.
No, I understand, Mr. Subramanian, your point about India being more competitive, no doubt. But the fact that this clause that which allows Bangladesh to buy US-produced cotton and then enjoy a zero-duty pathway, how difficult to digest is that for you? Because let's remember, Bangladesh has historically been a major buyer of Indian yarn. Now, if it pivots to US cotton to now qualify for this zero-duty clause, does this now become a double blow, hurting both India's spinning mills and its garment exports?
Yeah, zero duty is not for all the garments, because they have to use the minimum percentage of American cotton. The American cotton import is, compared to Indian cotton, the Bangladesh is importing less. So India exported 1.4 billion US dollar worth of yarn, 570 million kg to Bangladesh. This has to compensated by American cotton is not easy. So some portion there will be zero duty, but all the portion they cannot able to do it.
Right. So you're saying essentially the fact that there already exists substantial quantities being imported from India could well be, a continued advantage. So then I have to ask you, so what according to you is the one non-negotiable that India should now push for in its trade talks with the US? And should similar zero-duty mechanisms be part of these bargaining chips that could well be on the table when India and the US go about finalizing the trade deal?
Exactly. We also, because we are also doing importing cotton from USA, and we have more buyers from USA. Definitely, we will seek the support from the government to adopt the same principle for India also. If you are importing American cotton and using American cotton, we will also get the benefit of zero duty. And this has to take some time. And why they are considering for Bangladesh? Why not they consider for India? Definitely they will consider, and will come through this struggle also very soon.
Right. Now, in a situation, Mr. Subramanian, I have to ask you, wherein Bangladesh is now incentivized to import more US yarn than yarn from India, or cotton from the US than cotton from India, and incentivized because this will gradually then lead to zero duty pathways. Do you see those imports from India in terms of raw material declining, Bangladesh to India imports of raw material, given that they are now incentivized to import more from the US?
Maybe, but according to me, I have some data. So India has exported 1.47 billion US dollar worth of cotton yarn, 570 million kgs to Bangladesh, which is biggest destination for Indian yarn. In 2024-25, it shipped 12 to 14 lakh bales of cotton to Bangladesh last year. Almost 20% of Bangladesh garment exporters and 26% of India's cotton is using for their whole exports. So it is very huge, and it will not be compensated easily with other suppliers.
Absolutely. So, of course, that pivot also, like you're saying, could well be unlikely, at least in the near to medium term. So, last question then before I let you go. In a situation where this policy correction between India and the US, takes time, how does Tirupur continue to stay competitive? Can continued market diversification away from the US, you began it, of course, in the middle of last year. Do you think this continued diversification could be the only option going forward until this policy correction actually happens?
Tirupur is a cluster-based model. You know that 45,000 crores of export we are doing from this small town. And not only for export to US, it is 30% of the turnover is for USA market, balance all other countries. Likewise, today, the mother of deal, UFTA was signed. It covers 27 countries, and Australia, New Zealand, EFTA, all FTAs, almost 70% of the importing countries are to India with FTA. So the significant portion only with USA, and we can able to manage, and we will grow along with the other countries, and for the meantime, and we will continuously giving a pressure to at par match with the Bangladesh terms and conditions, and we will do American business also in support. But we cannot get down, and we will definitely we will competitive, and we will reach our target of, yes, within 3 years we will double our export business very soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's encouraging inputs coming from Mr. Subramanian. We can't eliminate the US, and of course, the export business will go hand in hand with American business, even as you continue to look at markets beyond the US itself. On that note, thanks so much for joining us on the broadcast and breaking it down. Let's hope that the export situation from Tirupur normalizes going forward. Thank you very much, Mr. Subramanian.
Thank you, Mr.
Well, staying with more news from Tamil Nadu, earlier today, the government here released a status and growth report on the electronics industry in the state. And its takeaways are especially significant, especially in the light of electronics and semiconductor production and exports. First up, the report indicates that Tamil Nadu may be leading the rest of the country in terms of new asset creation. In fact, the state accounts for over 47% of these new assets, which signal continued growth towards electronics capacity creation. Number two in the growth report is exports. In fact, the report in question signals a 414% jump in electronics exports from Tamil Nadu since FY22, and this includes complex components like PCBA, power electronics, and design-linked manufacturing. It adds that growth in electronics production is not Chennai-centric, with growth being distributed across towns like Hosur, Coimbatore, Tiruchirappalli, and Madurai, making Tamil Nadu one of the few states where electronics growth is multinodal, reducing execution and labor risk. Interestingly, though, the report also acknowledges that despite a claimed 20% of the world's chip design engineers being right here in India, most IP created in Tamil Nadu and beyond in other parts of the country is still owned by global firms, which has in turn limited the value capture aspect of electronics production in the state and other parts of the country. Well, moving on, the fact remains that even as the RBI has brought out those multiple measures to encourage MSMEs going forward, this sector in particular has been in focus since the union budget, which provisioned the creation of a 10,000 crore rupee SME growth fund for the sector. Now, add to that, late last week, the RBI monetary policy decided to double collateral-free lending to MSMEs from 10 lakh rupees to 20 lakh rupees. This move in particular could mean greater liquidity and reduced financial stress on MSMEs itself. In conversation with me on ET Now, Karur Vysya Bank's MD and CEO B. Ramesh Babu said that the RBI's decision signals overall bullishness on the MSME sector and that KVB itself will continue to prioritize lending to MSMEs over larger corporate customers. Here's a slice of that conversation.
Bank has been growing by leaps and bounds of late. So we still feel this is something different in our corporate calendar today, because each branch when we are opening, we are supporting the community local and many of the families there. So that way the community is prospering and we are prospering. Opening the branches also, we thought Chennai is the best place to open because we have a lot of connect with Chennai. 800 also we have did it. 900 also we have done that. Maybe 1000 also when we open, we may select Chennai. But our presence is there throughout the country. So now we would like to grow towards the west as well as the Gujarat as well as Maharashtra. That's our plan for future.
Absolutely. So while you have a strong presence in South India, suffice to say your focus will be on the western regions. Is that a correct reading?
Yes, yes, absolutely. In the sense that not that we will not lose the interest on the South India. So there are many new districts which are coming up where our presence is not there. If your presence is not there, you'll be missing the opportunity.
Right.
So that's why we will be abreast of what is happening. There are many high potential districts are there. So we'll have a presence. The advantage is if you have a branch in South, so getting the business is much faster compared to rest of the locations because the logo, the KVB name is known well. Automatically the footfall will be happening there. So when we are able to earn more business, we will give preference. Not that I'm saying that we will ignore South and all. We will try to balance between the South and the West.
Right. Even as we speak, sir, the RBI's Monetary Policy Committee has just concluded its meeting. Repo rates have remained unchanged at 5.25%. Can I get your reading of the policy stance for the moment as neutral?
Yeah. So you see, RBI has been quite supportive for the banks, and in fact, the governor calls the MDs of the banks in June, the month of December also. He elicits the views of the bankers, what is happening on the ground. Based on that, the policy formulation is there. So that way, every step what all RBI is taking, it is supporting the community. Now coming to our bank also, the policy linkage, if you see, 36% of our total business is for the commercial business, small and medium customer. So this collateral-free loan, what RBI has suggested, that augurs well for the bank, and many of the customers will be able to do. So the good thing with KVB is many of these new entrepreneurs who want to start, so they require a hand holding. They would like to come to a smaller bank who can support them in the initial stages. Right. So we have mastered in that. That is the reason which used to be 30% a point of time our commercial. It has grown to 36%. The liquidity wise also RBI is supporting us a lot. So that way lending and growing in credit is not a problem nowadays. And the other measures what RBI has brought, it definitely works well for the bank, and this year will be another wonderful year.
Absolutely. In fact, taking off on what you said, the central banker has also said that it hopes to be both proactive and preemptive in terms of liquidity management itself. How big of a step is this, especially in the context of MSMEs?
Absolutely, because I'll tell you one more thing. Coming to suppose KVB liquidity management, if we have, let us say, 1 crore of rupees, first preference we'll try to give it to MSME. The first right of refusal is with them. Once there is no opportunity there, then the money goes into other sectors. Right. So you see, earlier we were focusing some 10 years back on the big corporates. Then we realized saying that our strength lies in this, and these sort of people, they require hand holding, which used to be 35-36% corporate. We have brought it down to 14%. So that way, our approach shows saying that first of all, the money what all is available, give it to them. Rather, I can say the first right of refusal is with the MSME, and then we'll move forward. Now that RBI is supporting us for the liquidity, so absolutely the flow should not be a problem at all.
Right. And keeping with MSME itself, the RBI has also said that collateral-free, lending will of course go from 10 lakh rupees to 20 lakh rupees, thereby sending a strong signal that support for the MSME sector is strong. Do you expect this to be a continuing trend and a continuing stance, from an overall monetary policy perspective?
Absolutely, because RBI is quite supportive. RBI as well as the central government, both of them, they feel that the MSMEs are the backbone. In reality, that's a fact. Because we are in the hotbed where so many MSMEs are there in Tamil Nadu. If these people are nurtured, tomorrow they become the big industries. Right. So that way RBI stance is pretty correct, and we will be supporting this one to take it forward.
Right. Well, good times there for the MSME sector in terms of liquidity, both by the central bank and, of course, KVB itself, prioritizing MSMEs over larger corporate customers. But on that note, we'll have to slip into a really short break, but South Central continues on the other side of this commercial break. Keep watching PT Now. Welcome back to South Central with me, Jude Sanat, India's first and only business bulletin that puts all the focus on South India. Shifting focus to Kerala now, a historical moment in the judiciary is in the offing in this state. Tanya Nathan, just 24 years of age, is set to become Kerala's first visually challenged judge after topping the Kerala Judicial Service exam under the benchmark disability category. Born blind, Tanya studied law using braille and screen reading software, practiced as an advocate, and cracked the exam. This, of course, followed a Supreme Court ruling that disability cannot be grounds to deny judicial appointments, thereby signaling a landmark moment for inclusion in India's judiciary. Moving on then, speculation over a political churn in Karnataka is doing the rounds yet again after Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar left for a meeting reportedly with the Congress High Command in New Delhi. The buzz within Karnataka's political circles has been doing the rounds after a Congress member of the Legislative Council claimed that Shivkumar has the backing of not just 80 or 90, but all 136 Congress MLAs, fueling fresh speculation about a possible leadership change. Well, meanwhile, Shivkumar himself has insisted that all's well in the Congress itself. But moving on to Andhra Pradesh now, Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has ruled out a hike in power tariffs across the state, pushing instead for a faster rollout of rooftop solar, wind and pumped power storage capabilities, which in turn could reduce power purchase costs. The CM said that lowering procurement expenses and expanding decentralized solar capabilities are key to easing the cost burden on discoms. Naidu has asked officials to speed up approvals and implementation of rooftop projects in the interest of long-term power sector stability. Moving back to some news from the corporate space, the FMCG arm of Reliance Industries, that's Reliance Consumer Product Limited, has made yet another acquisition in South India. In fact, RCPL has announced that it has acquired Southern Health Foods. That's the Tamil Nadu-based company, which is also the brand behind the Manna brand, which is rather well known in these parts, over its portfolio, which includes millets and other health foods like breakfast cereals. Now, what the acquisition does is strengthen RCPL's presence and portfolio in the health and consumer space. In fact, this also continues with a recent spate of acquisitions that RCPL has been making, especially in South India, involving legacy brands, much like Velvet, that is of course the health and shampoo brand, even others within these parts. In fact, RCPL's push now underlines the company's desire to blend strong regional recall with national scale, even as it takes on established FMCG players across food, beverages and personal care. Well, on that note, we're completely out of time on this edition of South Central. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, with more news and updates from South India. For the moment, it's goodbye from us.